Living next to other humans requires tolerance, patience, and the ability to let small irritations slide. These people had none of those qualities and started years-long feuds over the most absurdly trivial nonsense imaginable. 1. Two neighbors started a 15-year feud over a tree that dropped leaves on both properties. One neighbor demanded the other rake his side daily. The tree owner refused, saying leaves are natural. They stopped speaking entirely and built spite fences. Both spent thousands on lawyers arguing about the leaves. The feud lasted until both families moved away. The tree still stands dropping leaves on new neighbors who don't care. 2. A woman started a feud because her neighbor's wind chimes made noise. She called the police 17 times about the chimes. Her neighbor refused to take them down out of principle. She tried cutting them down at night and got arrested. The legal fees cost her $8,000. The neighbor bought louder chimes after the arrest. The feud continued for 8 years until she moved. 3. Two men feuded for a decade over a parking spot neither owned. The spot was public street parking in front of both houses. Each believed they had exclusive rights to it. They would wake up at 5 a.m. to claim the spot. One bought an old car just to keep it parked there. Police were called dozens of times. Both men wasted years fighting over public property. 4. Neighbors feuded because one painted their house bright purple. The other neighbor said it lowered property values. They demanded it be repainted a normal color. The purple house owner refused and added more bright colors. Homeowner association got involved but couldn't enforce anything. The feud included shouting matches and property damage. Both sides spent fortunes on legal fees over paint color. 5. A feud started over a cat that wandered between properties. One neighbor claimed the cat was theirs. The other insisted the cat chose to live with them. Both fed the cat and called it different names. They installed security cameras to prove cat ownership. The cat didn't care and went wherever it wanted. The feud lasted 5 years over a cat that belonged to neither. 6. Two neighbors feuded over Christmas decorations being too early. One put up decorations in October. The other said it was disrespectful to Thanksgiving. They exchanged angry letters and HOA complaints. One neighbor stole decorations from the other's yard. Police reports were filed over stolen inflatable Santas. The feud made every holiday miserable for both families. 7. A woman started a feud because her neighbor's dog barked twice. The dog barked 2 times in one afternoon. She demanded the dog be gotten rid of immediately. The dog owner explained dogs sometimes bark. She began documenting every single sound from their property. She called animal control weekly with complaints. The feud lasted 12 years over 2 barks. 8. Neighbors feuded over a property line that was 6 inches disputed. Surveyors confirmed the actual boundary. Both neighbors rejected the survey results. They each built fences on what they claimed was their property. The overlap created a bizarre double fence situation. Legal battles cost both families over $30,000. 6 inches of grass destroyed 2 families' finances. 9. A feud started because one neighbor mowed their lawn too early on weekends. The mowing started at 8 a.m. on Saturdays. The other neighbor insisted nothing should happen before 10 a.m. They retaliated by mowing at 7 a.m. out of spite. Both began having lawn service come at absurd hours. The lawn war escalated to police involvement. The feud lasted the entire time both families lived there. 10. Two neighbors feuded over grill smoke drifting between yards. One loved grilling every weekend. The other claimed the smoke violated their property rights. They demanded the griller stop cooking outdoors entirely. The griller refused and grilled even more frequently. The anti-grill neighbor called the fire department repeatedly. Years of complaints and legal threats over barbecue smoke. 11. A feud erupted over garden gnomes facing the wrong direction. One neighbor's gnomes faced toward the other's property. The offended neighbor said the gnomes were watching them. They demanded the gnomes be turned around. The gnome owner added more gnomes, all facing the same way. The feud included gnome theft and gnome vandalism. Police reports were filed about ceramic garden decorations. 12. Neighbors feuded because one had solar panels the other thought were ugly. The anti-solar neighbor said the panels were an eyesore. They tried to get HOA to ban them. The solar panel owner refused to remove clean energy. The feud included property value arguments and spite complaints. Both sides hired lawyers over rooftop solar panels. The feud continued until one family moved away. 13. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's children playing outside. The kids played in their own yard after school. She claimed the noise was unbearable. She demanded the children play indoors only. The parents obviously refused the insane demand. She called CPS claiming the kids were neglected. The feud destroyed any chance of neighborhood harmony. 14. Two men feuded over who had the better lawn. Both were obsessed with lawn perfection. They competed over grass height and greenness. One accused the other of illegal lawn treatments. Both spent thousands on lawn care to outdo each other. The rivalry lasted 15 years. Neither lawn was actually that impressive to anyone else. 15. Neighbors feuded over a basketball hoop in a driveway. One neighbor's kids played basketball after school. The other neighbor hated the bouncing ball sound. They demanded the hoop be removed completely. The hoop owner said kids need exercise. The anti-hoop neighbor called police about noise violations. The feud lasted until the kids grew up. 16. A feud started over one neighbor's trash cans being visible from the street. The offended neighbor demanded trash cans be hidden at all times. They sent multiple letters about trash can aesthetics. The trash can owner said they followed all city rules. The feud escalated to HOA complaints and legal threats. Both sides wasted years arguing about garbage containers. 17. Two neighbors feuded because one's Halloween decorations were too scary. The decorator loved elaborate horror displays. The other neighbor said it frightened their children. They demanded less scary Halloween decor. The decorator added more gore and scary elements. The feud included police calls about decorations. Every October became a nightmare for both families. 18. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's bird feeder attracting birds. The birds visited the feeder in the morning. She claimed bird noise woke her up daily. She demanded the feeder be removed immediately. The bird lover refused and added more feeders. She threatened to poison the birds. The feud lasted 8 years over bird feeders. 19. Neighbors feuded over snow removal speed after winter storms. One neighbor cleared snow within an hour. The other took several days to shovel. The fast shoveler said it made the street look bad. They complained to the city about snow removal. The slow neighbor said they'd do it when they wanted. The feud lasted every winter for years. 20. A feud erupted over one neighbor's car being parked in their own driveway. The other neighbor said the car was too old and ugly. They claimed it lowered neighborhood property values. They demanded the car be parked elsewhere or sold. The car owner said it was their property and their driveway. HOA complaints and legal letters followed. The feud continued over a parked car. 21. Two women feuded over whose flowers were planted first each spring. Both were competitive gardeners. They argued about who had the better garden. One accused the other of stealing planting ideas. They stopped speaking and competed silently. Both spent thousands on elaborate gardens to outdo the other. The flower rivalry destroyed their friendship. 22. Neighbors feuded because one worked night shifts and slept during the day. The day sleeper asked for quiet during morning hours. The other neighbor refused to change their normal routine. They deliberately made noise during the day sleeper's rest time. The night shift worker retaliated with loud activities at night. The feud made both families miserable. 23. A feud started over a trampoline being too close to the property line. One family's kids used the trampoline daily. The neighbor worried about kids looking over their fence. They demanded the trampoline be moved or removed. The trampoline family said it was safely in their yard. Legal threats and HOA complaints followed. The feud lasted until the kids outgrew trampolines. 24. Two neighbors feuded over mail being delivered to the wrong box. Sometimes mail got mixed up between addresses. Each accused the other of stealing their mail. They put locks on mailboxes and installed cameras. Both reported mail theft to postal inspectors. The feud continued despite the Postal Service explaining honest mistakes. Years of suspicion over accidental mail delivery. 25. A woman started a feud because her neighbor's house blocked her sunset view. The house had been there for 30 years. She claimed her view was being stolen. She demanded they lower their roofline. The neighbor obviously refused the insane request. She complained to the city about view obstruction. The feud included spite complaints about everything. 26. Neighbors feuded over outdoor lighting being too bright at night. One had motion sensor lights for security. The other claimed the lights shined into their windows. They demanded the lights be removed completely. The light owner said it was for safety. Both sides called police and lawyers. The lighting dispute lasted a decade. 27. A feud erupted over one neighbor's teenagers having friends over. The teens had friends visit on weekends. The neighbor claimed it created too much noise and traffic. They demanded fewer visitors to the property. The family refused to limit their children's social life. Police were called about teenage gatherings. The feud lasted through high school years. 28. Two men feuded over gutter drainage between properties. Water from one gutter drained near the property line. The other neighbor said it was creating erosion. They demanded the gutter system be completely redone. The gutter owner said drainage was legal and proper. Both hired engineers to prove their point. Thousands spent on a gutter drainage dispute. 29. Neighbors feuded because one practiced musical instruments at home. The musician practiced piano during reasonable afternoon hours. The other neighbor claimed any music was too loud. They demanded complete silence at all times. The musician refused to stop practicing. Police were called about noise violations repeatedly. The musical feud lasted years. 30. A feud started over a fence being 1 foot too tall according to one neighbor. The fence met all legal height requirements. The complaining neighbor insisted it violated some obscure rule. They demanded the fence be shortened. The fence owner refused to modify a legal fence. Legal battles and HOA complaints followed. 1 foot of fence height caused years of conflict. 31. Two women feuded over whose garden was better maintained. Both took pride in their landscaping. They competed constantly over garden appearance. One accused the other of using illegal fertilizers. Both made spite complaints about the other's yard. The competition destroyed what had been a friendship. Years wasted on garden rivalry. 32. Neighbors feuded because one had a home business with occasional clients visiting. A few cars per week visited for business appointments. The other neighbor claimed it violated residential zoning. They tried to shut down the legal home business. The business owner proved everything was properly licensed. The feud included constant complaints to the city. Business jealousy created years of conflict. 33. A feud erupted over one neighbor's security camera angle. The camera covered their own property for security. The other neighbor insisted the camera could see into their yard. They demanded the camera be removed or repositioned. The camera owner showed the actual camera view, proving otherwise. The feud continued anyway with legal threats. Security camera paranoia destroyed neighbor relations. 34. Two neighbors feuded over whose turn it was to maintain the shared driveway. The driveway served both properties equally. Each insisted the other should do all maintenance. Neither would contribute to repairs or snow removal. The driveway deteriorated while they argued. Both spent more on lawyers than repairs would have cost. The shared driveway became a war zone. 35. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's outdoor furniture color. The neighbor bought red patio furniture for their deck. She said red clashed with the neighborhood aesthetic. She demanded they buy different colored furniture. The furniture owner told her to mind her own business. HOA complaints and property value arguments followed. Years of conflict over furniture color. 36. Neighbors feuded because one used a leaf blower the other hated. The leaf blower was used for 30 minutes weekly. The anti-blower neighbor insisted on rake-only yard work. They tried to get leaf blowers banned in the neighborhood. The leaf blower user refused to switch to raking. The feud included noise complaints and legal threats. Decades of hatred over a leaf blower. 37. A feud started over one neighbor's TV being audible through shared walls. The volume was at normal levels during evening hours. The other neighbor claimed they could hear every word. They demanded the TV only be watched with headphones. The TV owner said walls should have proper insulation. Both blamed the other for the noise issue. The apartment feud lasted years. 38. Two men feuded over whose driveway snow got plowed where. Snowplows pushed snow from both driveways into the street. Each blamed the other's plow guy for creating more work. They argued about snow placement after every storm. Both hired new plow services to prove a point. The winter feud happened annually for 15 years. Snowplow politics destroyed neighbor relations. 39. Neighbors feuded over a compost bin being too close to the property line. One family composted for their garden. The other neighbor claimed it smelled and attracted pests. They demanded the compost bin be removed completely. The composting family insisted it was environmentally responsible. Health department was called multiple times. The organic waste dispute lasted years. 40. A feud erupted because one neighbor said hello too enthusiastically. The friendly neighbor always waved and said good morning. The other neighbor found it intrusive and fake. They demanded to be left alone completely. The friendly neighbor felt insulted and stopped all contact. The feud started because someone was too friendly. Years of silent treatment followed. 41. Two women feuded over whose child got into trouble first. Both kids fought at the bus stop one day. Each mother blamed the other child exclusively. Neither would admit their kid did anything wrong. The mother stopped speaking and kept kids separated. Both filed complaints with the school. The kid fight created a permanent parent feud. 42. Neighbors feuded over one having too many packages delivered. Online shopping created daily deliveries. The other neighbor said delivery trucks blocked the street. They complained about the inconvenience of commerce. The shopper said they could buy whatever they wanted. The feud included complaints to delivery companies. Package delivery jealousy created conflict. 43. A feud started over Halloween candy quality and quantity. One neighbor gave out full-size candy bars. The other gave small candies and felt shown up. They accused the generous neighbor of trying to be better. The full-size bar giver refused to downgrade their candy. The feud made Halloween awkward for years. Candy competition destroyed neighbor relations. 44. Two neighbors feuded because their dogs barked at each other through the fence. Both dogs barked when they saw each other. Each owner blamed the other dog for starting it. They demanded the other keep their dog inside. Neither would change their dog's outdoor time. The dog rivalry reflected the owner rivalry. Both dogs probably would have been friends. 45. Neighbors feuded over someone parking in front of their house on the public street. The parking was completely legal on the public street. One neighbor considered the street spot theirs despite no ownership. They left angry notes on windshields. They tried to reserve the public spot with cones. The parker refused to move from legal parking. The public parking dispute lasted years. 46. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's recycling bin being too full. The recycling bin was filled every week. She claimed overflowing recycling was unsightly. She demanded they use less packaging or get more bins. The neighbor said they recycled appropriately. Environmental disagreement created unexpected conflict. The recycling police mentality destroyed relations. 47. Two men feuded over whose lawn care service was superior. Both hired professional lawn services. They constantly compared whose grass looked better. One accused the other's service of trespassing. Both switched services multiple times to prove superiority. The lawn service rivalry cost thousands. Neither lawn was actually better than the other. 48. Neighbors feuded because one worked from home and was always visible. The work-from-home neighbor was often outside during the day. The other thought they were unemployed and judged them. They made comments about lounging around all day. The remote worker explained their legitimate job. The feud continued based on employment misunderstanding. Work-from-home judgment created years of tension. 49. A feud erupted over one neighbor's flag being the wrong size. The flag met all display guidelines. The other neighbor insisted it was too large for the neighborhood. They demanded a smaller flag. The flag owner exercised their right to display it. Patriotic display became a conflict point. HOA and legal complaints followed over flag size. 50. Two neighbors feuded over pool noise during summer months. One family had kids who used their pool daily. The other neighbor claimed pool splashing and laughter was too loud. They demanded pool hours be severely limited. The pool family refused to restrict their kids' summer fun. Police were called about children swimming. Summer pool use created year-round hatred. 51. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's paint color being too similar to hers. Both houses were painted similar shades of blue. She claimed they copied her color deliberately. She demanded they repaint a different color. The neighbor had picked the color independently. The paint similarity accusation created absurd conflict. 2 blue houses destroyed neighbor relations. 52. Neighbors feuded because one grew vegetables in their front yard. The vegetable garden was neat and well maintained. The other neighbor said front yards were for grass only. They claimed vegetables lowered property values. The gardener refused to remove their food source. The front yard farming debate went to HOA. Vegetable gardening created unexpected warfare. 53. A feud started over someone's Wi-Fi network name being offensive. The Wi-Fi name was a joke about the neighborhood. The offended neighbor demanded it be changed. They said the Wi-Fi name was harassment. The Wi-Fi owner said it was their network and their choice. The digital feud spilled into real-world conflict. Wi-Fi network naming destroyed relations. 54. 2 women feuded over whose holiday decorations were more tasteful. Both decorated elaborately for every holiday. They competed to have the best displays. One accused the other of plagiarizing decoration ideas. Both spent thousands on decorations to outdo each other. The holiday spirit turned into bitter rivalry. Every holiday became a decoration competition. 55. Neighbors feuded over a trampoline being visible from the other's property. The trampoline was in the owner's backyard legally. The other neighbor found trampolines aesthetically unpleasing. They demanded it be removed from sight. The trampoline family built a fence to block the view. The feud continued even after the fence. Trampoline visibility created years of tension. 56. A feud erupted because one neighbor collected rainwater in barrels. The rain barrels were used for garden watering. The other neighbor claimed rain collection was stealing water. They tried to get rain barrels banned. The collector explained rainwater harvesting was legal. Environmental conservation became a fight. Rainwater collection destroyed neighbor harmony. 57. 2 neighbors feuded over dandelions spreading between lawns. One had a natural lawn with dandelions. The other had a chemical-treated weed-free lawn. They blamed dandelions on the natural lawn neighbor. They demanded herbicide treatment of all properties. The natural lawn owner refused chemicals. The dandelion war included spite complaints and legal threats. 58. Neighbors feuded because one didn't smile or wave back consistently. The friendly neighbor felt snubbed by lack of acknowledgement. The quiet neighbor preferred being left alone. Neither understood the other's perspective. The friendly neighbor began deliberately ignoring the quiet one. The quiet neighbor was relieved at first, then offended. The greeting dispute created permanent tension. 59. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's clothesline being visible. The neighbor air-dried laundry to save energy. She claimed clotheslines were outdated and tacky. She demanded they use a dryer like normal people. The clothesline user refused to waste energy. The clothesline debate went to HOA meetings. Energy conservation created unexpected conflict. 60. 2 men feuded over whose snow removal technique was correct. One used a snowblower immediately after storms. The other waited for snow to stop, then shoveled. Each criticized the other's method as wrong. They argued about snow removal efficiency constantly. The winter technique debate lasted decades. Both methods worked fine, but neither would admit it. 61. Neighbors feuded over a trampoline bounce, creating visible activity. Kids jumping on the trampoline could be seen bouncing. The other neighbor found the bouncing motion annoying. They claimed it was disturbing to watch kids play. They demanded the trampoline be removed or moved. The bouncing visibility feud lasted years. Children playing became a conflict point. 62. A feud started over someone cooking strong-smelling ethnic food. The cooking smells drifted between properties occasionally. The other neighbor complained about weird smells constantly. They demanded different food be cooked. The cooking family refused to change their cultural cuisine. The food smell complaints bordered on discrimination. Cultural cooking became a neighbor war. 63. Two women feuded over whose book club was better. Both hosted monthly book clubs at their homes. They competed for the same potential members. One accused the other of stealing her book selections. Both spread gossip about the other's club. The book club rivalry destroyed their friendship. Literary competition created real-world conflict. 64. Neighbors feuded because one's teenager learned to drive. The new driver practiced in the neighborhood streets. The other neighbor claimed teenage driving endangered everyone. They demanded driving practice happen elsewhere. The family said their teen needed to practice. Police were called about legal driving practice. Teenage learning created neighbor hatred. 65. A feud erupted over someone installing a hot tub. The hot tub was installed legally in their backyard. The other neighbor worried about noise and parties. They tried to prevent the hot tub installation. The hot tub owner used it mainly alone quietly. Preemptive hot tub hatred created years of conflict. The imagined parties never happened. 66. Two neighbors feuded over a shed being too close to the fence line. The shed met all setback requirements legally. The other neighbor insisted it violated their sight line. They demanded the shed be moved or removed. The shed owner showed permits and compliance. Legal shed placement became an obsession. Months of legal threats over a compliant shed. 67. Neighbors feuded because one subscribed to the wrong political party. Yard signs during election season started the conflict. Each judged the other's political beliefs harshly. They stopped speaking because of political differences. Previous friendship ended over voting preferences. The political divide created permanent neighbor hatred. Democracy destroyed their relationship. 68. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's porch light staying on all night. The light was for security and safety. She claimed the light shined into her bedroom. She demanded the light be turned off at night. The neighbor kept it on for safety reasons. The all-night light debate lasted years. Security lighting created insomnia complaints. 69. Two men feuded over whose garage was more organized. Both kept meticulously organized garages. They competed over organization methods. One accused the other of copying his system. Both gave unsolicited advice about garage organization. The organization rivalry became an obsession. Garage perfection destroyed neighbor relations completely. 70. Neighbors feuded over a treehouse being built in a backyard tree. Kids wanted a simple treehouse for playing. The other neighbor claimed it was too tall. They said the treehouse could see into their property. The treehouse family showed it couldn't see anything. The treehouse debate went to the city. Children's play structure created adult warfare. 71. A feud started because someone painted their door red. The red door was a feng shui recommendation. The neighbor said red doors were garish. They demanded a more neutral door color. The door owner explained the cultural significance. The red door debate lasted until someone moved. Door color choice destroyed neighbor harmony. 72. Two women feuded over whose children were better behaved. Both had young children around the same age. They constantly compared kids' behavior and achievements. One claimed the other's kids were too loud. Both competed over whose kids were superior. The child rivalry reflected parent competition. Kids probably would have been friends. 73. Neighbors feuded because one had a work van parked overnight. The commercial van was parked in their own driveway. The other neighbor said commercial vehicles lowered values. They tried to get work vehicles banned. The van owner needed their work vehicle accessible. The work van debate went to HOA. Employment vehicle became a battleground. 74. A feud erupted over someone's fitness routine being too visible. The fitness enthusiast worked out in their garage with the door open. The other neighbor found watching exercise uncomfortable. They demanded garage workouts happen with the door closed. The exerciser said they needed ventilation. The visible fitness routine created unexpected conflict. Exercise visibility became a problem. 75. Two neighbors feuded over who saw a property line issue first. Neither actually saw any real problem. Both claimed they noticed a boundary concern. Each accused the other of property encroachment. Surveys proved no issue existed at all. The imaginary property dispute created real hatred. Made-up problems destroyed their relationship. 76. Neighbors feuded because one hosted occasional outdoor dinners. The dinner parties happened a few times per summer. The other neighbor considered outdoor entertaining intrusive. They complained about dinner conversation noise. The hosts refused to only eat indoors. The outdoor dining debate lasted years. Social entertaining created antisocial reactions. 77. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's seasonal wreaths. The neighbor changed door wreaths for every season. She found constant decoration changes excessive. She complained about too many wreaths. The wreath lover refused to stop decorating. The wreath frequency debate became an obsession. Seasonal decorating created year-round conflict. 78. Two men feuded over whose driveway seal coating looked better. Both had driveways seal coated the same summer. They compared results constantly. One claimed the other's contractor did inferior work. Both argued about seal coating quality. The driveway appearance rivalry lasted years. Asphalt maintenance became a competition. 79. Neighbors feuded over a greenhouse being built in a backyard. The greenhouse was for growing vegetables year-round. The other neighbor called it an ugly structure. They tried to prevent greenhouse construction. The gardener had all proper permits approved. The greenhouse debate went through appeals. Growing vegetables created unexpected opposition. 80. A feud started because someone practiced yoga visible from the window. The yoga practitioner did morning routines at home. The other neighbor found visible yoga weird. They complained about seeing someone exercise. The yoga person refused to close curtains in their own home. Visible wellness practice created conflict. Healthy habits became a neighbor issue. 81. Two women feuded over whose garden statues were more tasteful. Both decorated gardens with various statues. They judged each other's statue choices harshly. One called the other's statues tacky. Both kept adding more statues to prove superiority. The statue war escalated for years. Garden decoration became a judgment competition. 82. Neighbors feuded because one worked irregular shift hours. The shift worker came home at odd times. The other neighbor complained about midnight arrivals. They demanded the shift worker find different employment. The worker couldn't control their job schedule. The shift work debate created resentment. Employment schedule created neighborhood tension. 83. A feud erupted over someone's porch furniture arrangement. The furniture was arranged on their own porch. The other neighbor didn't like how it looked. They offered unsolicited rearrangement advice. The furniture owner ignored the suggestions. The porch arrangement debate became an obsession. Furniture placement destroyed relations. 84. Two neighbors feuded over whose mailbox was more attractive. Both had standard mailboxes meeting postal requirements. They competed over a mailbox appearance. One upgraded to a decorative mailbox. The other immediately bought an even nicer one. The mailbox rivalry cost hundreds. Mail receptacle appearance became serious competition. 85. Neighbors feuded because one planted bamboo near the property line. The bamboo was contained in proper barriers. The other neighbor feared bamboo invasion. They demanded complete bamboo removal. The bamboo owner explained containment methods. The bamboo paranoia created years of conflict. Contained plants became uncontained hatred. 86. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's morning routine timing. The neighbor had coffee on their porch at 6 a.m. She found early porch sitting intrusive somehow. She complained about being watched in the morning. The coffee drinker was just enjoying their porch. The morning routine debate lasted years. Porch sitting became controversial. 87. Two men feuded over whose car was washed more frequently. Both kept vehicles very clean. They competed over car cleanliness. One accused the other of showing off. Both washed cars more often to prove dedication. The car washing rivalry was exhausting. Vehicle cleanliness became a competition. 88. Neighbors feuded over a fire pit being used occasionally. The fire pit was used a few times per month. The other neighbor worried about smoke and fires. They tried to get fire pits banned. The fire pit owner followed all safety rules. The outdoor fire debate lasted years. Safe fire enjoyment created conflict. 89. A feud started because someone repaired their own car in their driveway. The car repairs were done on weekends. The other neighbor called it unsightly. They claimed car maintenance lowered property values. The car owner was saving money with DIY repairs. The driveway mechanic work became a battle. Home car repair created opposition. 90. Two women feuded over whose container garden was superior. Both grew herbs and vegetables in pots. They competed over container garden size. One accused the other of copying her plants. Both expanded gardens to outdo each other. The container competition cost hundreds. Potted plants became rivalry symbols. 91. Neighbors feuded because one bird watched with binoculars. The bird watcher observed birds from their own yard. The other neighbor thought binoculars meant spying. They accused the bird watcher of surveillance. The bird watcher explained ornithology hobby. The binocular usage created paranoia. Bird watching became suspicious activity. 92. A feud erupted over someone's ladder being stored outside. The ladder was kept on the side of the house. The other neighbor found stored ladders unsightly. They demanded garage storage only. The ladder owner had limited garage space. The ladder visibility debate lasted months. Tool storage became contentious. 93. Two neighbors feuded over whose holiday lights display was better. Both decorated homes elaborately for Christmas. They competed for the best display. One accused the other of stealing ideas. Both spent thousands on lights annually. The Christmas light rivalry ruined holidays. Festive decorating became bitter competition. 94. Neighbors feuded because one had a small home gym visible through windows. The exercise equipment was in their own home. The other neighbor didn't like seeing workout equipment. They complained about visible gym gear. The exerciser refused to rearrange their house. The visible fitness equipment created conflict. Home gym appearance became an issue. 95. A woman started a feud over her neighbor's herb garden smell. The fresh herbs growing created pleasant aromas. She claimed strong herb smells bothered her. She demanded different plants be grown. The herb gardener refused to change plants. The aromatic herb debate lasted seasons. Pleasant garden smells became complaints. 96. Two men feuded over whose lawn mowing pattern was correct. One mowed in stripes, the other in circles. They each insisted their pattern was superior. Both criticized the other's mowing technique. Neither pattern was actually better. The mowing method debate lasted decades. Grass-cutting direction became serious business. 97. Neighbors feuded over a small boat stored in a driveway. The boat was used for weekend fishing trips. The other neighbor called it an eyesore. They tried to get boat storage banned. The boat owner said storage was legal. The driveway boat debate went to HOA. Recreation equipment storage created opposition. 98. A feud started because someone's porch swing creaked slightly. The swing made gentle creaking sounds when used. The other neighbor found the sound annoying. They demanded the swing be removed or oiled. The swing owner used it despite complaints. The creaking sound debate lasted years. Porch swing noise created conflict. 99. Two women feuded over whose doormat was more welcoming. Both had decorative doormats with messages. They competed over doormat friendliness. One bought increasingly elaborate doormats. The other immediately matched with better ones. The doormat rivalry cost hundreds. Entry mat competition became ridiculous. 100. Neighbors feuded because one listened to different music genres. The music was played at reasonable volumes. The other neighbor judged their music taste. They made comments about bad music. The music listener refused to change preferences. The music genre debate created tension. Taste differences destroyed harmony. 101. And finally, two neighbors started a decades-long feud over absolutely nothing anyone could remember. Neither neighbor could recall how the feud started originally. They just knew they hated each other intensely. Both families maintained the feud out of pure stubbornness. New family members were told to avoid the other neighbor. The grudge outlasted the original reason by years. Their children continued the feud into the next generation. Grandchildren were taught to dislike the neighbor kids. The feud became a family tradition nobody understood. Both sides spent fortunes on spite complaints over decades. Property values decreased from the constant conflict. Every interaction was hostile for no remembered reason. They built higher fences and avoided all contact. The nameless feud defined both families' lives. Neither would apologize because they forgot what for. The forgotten conflict lasted longer than most marriages. Estate sales finally ended the feud when both families moved. New neighbors became friends immediately without baggage. The decades of hatred had been completely pointless. The ultimate stupid feud was one without a reason, proving that neighbor conflicts often outlive their causes, demonstrating that pride matters more than peace, and revealing that some people would rather fight than admit they forgot why they're angry. These absurd conflicts show that proximity breeds contempt when people lack perspective about what actually matters in life. The pattern proves that small annoyances become obsessions when people have too much time and too little tolerance for normal human existence. The lesson nobody wants to hear: your neighbor's minor quirks aren't worth years of hatred, legal fees, and making everyone miserable. Subscribe if these ridiculous feuds reminded you that good fences make good neighbors, but good sense makes better ones.